and look God in the face, and you have, I know she just trying to make it on a, I don't know what that's about, trying to DJ or something. You have to look God in the face and say, God, help me to see it the way you see it. Because watch this. You can start shifting the way you see your spouse. The way you, listen, in the first year, everybody cool. Everybody on the honeymoon. Everybody good to go. I love this woman. We always taking pictures and everything. We matching. We doing all this kind of stuff. Oh, but when that second, that third year hit, and that fourth, fifth, sixth, and seventh, eighth, ninth, and that, can you still look at her through the lenses of God and all the things that she has done right or she has done wrong? Can you still look at her and say, I love this woman, and vice versa? Because it's only God that can do that. Can I get an amen, somebody? It's only God that's going to keep you in the proper perspective of looking at this individual through the highs and through the lows. People who get off this marriage train, they start looking at their spouse without the lenses of love because they don't have God in their life. Amen. They start saying, you was my girl, but now you become my enemy. Martin Lawrence made a movie a long time ago, said there's a thin line between love and hate. The one person you love could be the most angered person you can hate because the way you looked at them shifted. Can I get an amen, somebody? So when you get up every day and you say, God, help me to look at this person through the love of God versus just the selfishness of self. Because love is powered by the Spirit of God. Sometimes, watch this, y'all. Y'all think love is hanging out in a restaurant. Y'all think love is going on date night every 2 weeks when it's payday. Y'all think love is, you know what real love is? Let me tell you what real love is when you marry. I'm going to tell you what real love is. Y'all going to laugh, but this is what it is. Real love is when you done went to bed, got comfortable, and you about 1 millisecond from just dozing off and going to sleep, and your spouse say, babe, you go to the car for me? And you get your rump up out of your bed and go to the car for her. That's real love. Can you get amen, somebody? That, come on, that's love right there. It ain't that on Facebook. No. Some people take them pictures and be arguing the next 5 minutes. Love is sometimes sacrifice. I don't want to do it. But because I love you, I will. And I'm not going to even boast about it. I'm not even going to brag about it. I'm just going to I'm going to just do it and get it done, dog. Just move on with my life. Y'all think I'm playing, but it's real deal. This is real. You can only get that when the Spirit of God is in you, killing that flesh, trying to make it die to its own desires of staying in the bed and let her go out there in the mosquitoes and look for whatever she's trying to look for to wrap her hair. It's love that compels you to go and find that comb so sister can wrap her hair and y'all go to bed. I'm talking about somebody. I know I'm talking about. Listen, I'm talking about them 8 years. This is what I had to go through, Daniel. It's a bunch of training I had to go through. A bunch of sacrifices. But when you look at it through the love of God, you understand that that's that woman that'll get up and cook for you when you don't feel like getting up and cooking for yourself. That's the woman that's going to ask you, are you feeling good on the days you come home looking like you done went through hell? That's the same woman that's going to make sure that if you hurt in the hospital, the house is going to continue to be ran and the kids will be safe, and she probably will still come up and see if you okay. That's that same woman. So I understand I got to pour in love to get love back. And so when the moments when I don't feel like doing it, it's the Spirit of God, the lens of God, the way I look at my wife that causes me to say, I got to do it. Because one day she might be doing it for you. Amen. So I got to pour in that cup. Because if I don't look at it through the lens of God, if I don't look at it through the love of God, I'm going to look at it through the love of self, and I'm going to turn over and go to sleep and say, woman, do what you're going to do. None of my business. But you do it for God. Somebody say you do it for God. And this is marriage. Y'all want to be booed up and be married? This is real deal. This ain't no like Hollywood stuff. This is what you're going to be dealing with. It's stuff that you're going to have to die to. It's stuff you're going to have to work on. It's stuff you got to put to the side. You cannot be selfish in marriage. You cannot have your own agendas in marriage. You cannot say one day I'm going to love you, the next day I'm not. That is not. That's even God don't like people like that. God is like, I'd rather you be hot or cold. But all that back and forth, I ain't got time for that, man. You going to do right or go on somewhere. Because if people need consistency, God's Spirit brings consistency in your emotions. He will regulate your emotions. He will regulate your flesh. And he will cause you to be compelled to do things for your spouse out of love and not spite. This is an institution that God created, and it's an institution that he can sustain in your life if you will allow him to. You cannot watch this. You cannot take something that God instituted called marriage and finish it off in the flesh. You can't, watch this. You can't start in the church and finish in the lawyer's office. Some of y'all missed that, but y'all get in the car. He never designed it for you to start and come up in him and bring all your cousin in them, all they drunk behind, going to come to the wedding, and they're going to act fool and dance. Y'all going to have a good time. Y'all going to smush cake in each other's face. Y'all had the pastor leave early from the party so y'all can turn up. And then all of a sudden, you did all this in front of God, in front of the witnesses of your family, only to be trying to finish it off at a lawyer's office or the courthouse. That is not the will of God for your life. Turn to somebody and say, neighbor, that's not the will of God for your life. That's not what God signed up for. He signed up, watch this, he signed up loving of your spouse, loving of your desires. You don't think as a married man I have temptations and eyes want to go here, eyes want to go there, but I have to kill the flesh. I can't go and play around with my life like that. I'm at an age where stepping outside of my marriage is like more work for me. And you can ask her, I don't like the work. I ain't got time for that, bro. I'm trying to keep it together. There's more hell out there. I ain't got time for that. So I got to love through the love of God. I got to be empowered through the Spirit of God to keep this flesh under my feet. Because everything that look good ain't good. I found out, and this is me being transparent. Can I just talk to y'all today? And I'm going to talk, just talk. I realize at this point of my life, when I look at my health and I look at my age, I realize the only reason to step outside of my marriage is for ego. It's just ego. It's not even about the pleasure, the experience. It's just ego. The Bible talks about in Song of Solomon, may her satisfy you your whole life. Y'all got to read the Bible to know what I'm talking about. It get kind of X-rated in Song of Solomon in a spiritual way. You got to have a very creative mind and the Spirit of God to read Song of Solomon. You can't read it too carnal. You might just go, single people, stay away from there. But it takes, that's the only, so watch this. If I love her through the Spirit of God, that means that the ego gonna die. Which means that I ain't got time to play. And I know this might sound morbid, but I'd rather for my marriage to end in the hospital room. Matter of fact, let's say it better. I'd rather for my church to start, my marriage to start in church and end in church. That's the goal. I want it to start in church and I want it to end in church. For y'all who ain't made the connection, the funeral happens. Okay, never mind. Anybody know what I'm talking about? And watch this. And as people who love God, you have to make that very clear. You have to make that, don't let culture shift and shape you. You have to make it clear that this is a biblical thing. This is a thing of marriage, and you have to work out all of those kinks. And if you, watch this. If you don't stay before God and let him wash you